everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Pure Joy Podcast. I'm your host, Elaina Love, and today I'm coming to you from my home in Bend, Oregon, and it is August 2020. And I've really been wanting to record a podcast recently, and I kind of have been feeling this feeling of stuckness. And so I decided to do the podcast on that. A lot of times I think what's happening with us is we kind of get frozen. And especially with what's happening on the planet right now, since March, we've been in some kind of quarantine / lockdown / experiencing reality in a completely different way than we have before this. And, the question that I hear a lot of my friends ask and that I've been asking myself and that just seems to be a recurring theme, which I feel like is sabotage now that I'm checking in with it, and the question is, am I doing enough? Am I enough? Is my existence enough? Should I be doing more? If so, what should I be doing? Should I be out marching the streets? Should I be posting things on Facebook, that I believe are true? Should I be somehow on one side or the other talking about, not to wear masks because it's going to, take away our rights and just all the things that are happening right now? And I really got an amazing, I just like to call them downloads, but an amazing message that came to me today really strongly. Today is August 20th, and it's actually been a theme that's been coming up over and over again, and that is another, what they would call a psyop. So anything that's making us question ourselves, consider that a psyop. Consider that something that is taking you away from your divinity, from your divine source, from who you truly are, and who you're here to be and intended to be on this planet. So what I would love to do today is, this is going to be a short podcast, but I'm going to talk about some of those things and maybe what you might be experiencing and some of the things I've been experiencing. And then I'm going to end it with a really beautiful meditation and just kind of close it out that way with feelings of completeness, wholeness, divinity within us. So hang on all the way to the end so that you can listen to that meditation, and it's really probably only about 10 or 15 minutes. And so the first thing I kind of want to talk about is, have you been self-sabotaging? Have you been feeling, because you're maybe not feeling like you're doing enough, or maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're in a relationship, or you're in a household, or you're in a situation where you're feeling like other people around you that are close to you that you kind of are in a commitment with, you can't just walk away, are on a different page than you, or maybe they're shaming and judging and blaming you. Maybe you're blaming, judging, shaming others. All these things that are coming up, and these are completely 100% normal emotions. And that's the thing that I really want to address today, because the first thing that happens is we start to judge ourselves, right? If we're not judging other people, and that's the easy way, because the blame. I love Byron Katie, and she wrote a book called Loving What Is, and she's written tons of books, and I've listened to a lot of them, and she has a website called thework.com where you question yourself. It's called Judge Your Neighbor, so that's why I'm bringing it up, because we, according to Byron Katie, we judge, that's what we do, because our primal selves, whatever you want to call it, our survival selves, have always had to say, oh, is that safe or not safe? Can I trust that thing or should I not trust that thing? So of course it's ingrained within us to judge other people, to judge situations, to even judge ourselves. And so instead of blaming, shaming, and guilting ourselves, let's just take a moment when that comes up, and this is what I've been doing, is to be present with it, and what I call being the witness. And this is something I've learned through meditating a lot, is when you start to witness yourself. Now, who is that being that's witnessing, right? So we have our brain, which we think is us. And the brain is the one that does all the thinking, and it's always trying to problem solve. And so that's the thing that kind of tends to come in and chew on us, get in our ear and be like, you're not doing enough. You should be doing more. You should be out doing something. You should be podcasting more. You should be on your computer working. You should be this, you should be that. So the shoulds, as we know, don't should on yourself. The shoulds are what kind of get us into a lot of trouble, because we end up being these human doings instead of human beings. And I know you've heard a lot of this before, but I just thought it's really an appropriate time to talk about our authenticity and who we are here really to be. And so all these things become a distraction. It's a distraction that's keeping us from our true divinity, our true authentic self. And, like lately, the reason I wanted to do this podcast today is I have been experiencing that where I'm like, I don't feel like going anywhere. I don't feel like doing anything. So as a default, I end up watching things on Netflix or YouTube more than normal and kind of judging myself for it, thinking, God, is this all my life is I'm just, here not really contributing to the world. So what came up for me is like, how do I serve? How do I be in service? And so that's something that is a really beautiful question to ask, because it's not blaming and shaming or guilting. It's just like a question like, how do I serve? What am I here to do? And so some of the stuff that just I want to talk about today is trust and surrender, to know that we are enough no matter what. Our existence is enough. And so something for me that's been coming up, because there's a lot of different kinds of people on the planet, and a lot of different people have different ways of expressing themselves, right? I mean, we can't all be musicians. We can't all be writers. We can't all be podcasters. We can't all be YouTubers. We can't all be out marching on the streets. We can't all be mothers, or whatever the role is that someone has. Like, obviously, that seems so obvious when I say we can't all be mothers, like, duh. So why are we comparing ourselves so much to what other people are doing? And even this for me, comes up with my body, like comparing myself to someone who's supernaturally thin, who never gains weight, never bloated, never has these body image things that I know a lot of us women have, and men too. And so the word comparison came in, and I'm like, whenever I compare, I take away from myself. I somehow am putting myself down. And the inner voice that we have is so important, because if we were to use this inner voice that we use on ourselves, like think about the last time maybe you looked at yourself in the mirror, or the last time that you didn't follow through on something you said you wanted to do. What were the words that you thought to yourself? Like, oh my God, you're, whatever words you want to fill in. You're too fat, you're too this, you're not enough that, you're too old, you're yada, 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 you're not good enough. All these old messages that have been implanted into us. Where did these messages come from? Some of them could have come from our parents, from our siblings, from kids in school, bullying, from teachers, from any clergy members. It could be from a multitude of places. But in the end, just like we have control over what we put in our mouth, we also have control over what we're saying to ourselves. So positive self-talk is going to be a super important thing to start thinking of right now. Like, how can I be more positive with myself? How can I be more conscious with my language? And one of the first ways to do that is to get rid of the word should. I could, or I'm aware that this is something I'm desiring to do, or doing this action would make me feel better about myself, or make me feel like I'm helping other people. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is because when we get in that downward spiral, we end up getting frozen. So there's fight, flight, or freeze. So right now, during these months when we're in quarantine, I feel like freeze is the one that I've witnessed in myself and in a lot of other people. So, let's just take a look at that. Like, why are we freezing? Because there's nowhere to fly to. There's nowhere to flee to for most of us, And then fighting, some people are doing the fighting thing where, you see they're fighting on Facebook, and they're fighting on Instagram, and they're fighting in the streets. And so that is one option. And then for a lot of us, the option is to freeze. And so I just want to take a minute just to start thinking about when we're freezing, or we're doing any of these things and we're judging ourselves, to do the trust and surrender. Like, okay, I know I'm here for a reason. I know I've been put on this planet for a reason. I know I was born for a reason. And no matter what your belief system is, you are here, you do exist, and that's enough. Existence is enough. And that's what all the meditative, gurus and leaders say, is that, just being in the here and now, being is what we're here to do. And then, of course, the brain wants to come in and problem solve and figure things out for you and start telling you, you need to do more of this, you need to do more of that. But when we start with trusting and surrender, then we can start to move forward. Because as soon as I say, I should be doing this, and then I say, you know what, I'm going to just trust that everything I've been doing has led me up to this exact moment, this moment where I'm questioning something. So everything that's happened in my life, every person I've met, every relationship I've been in, every experience I've had, whether it be tragic or joyous or anything in between, has created the me that I am today. And so I'm just going to celebrate that. I'm going to trust into that, and I'm going to surrender to the fact that here I am in this now moment asking these questions, and, knowing that that's just where I am. And so when we get in a state of trust and surrender, then we acknowledge that there's an organizing principle that's taking care of us, right? Like, so how the Bible talks about the birds don't worry about where their next meal is coming from. So many of us run around in survival mode trying to I need to buy more toilet paper. I need to stock up my pantry. I need to do this more. I need to make more money. I need to this, that, the other. Even I need to be in a relationship. Somehow that all kind of seems to go back to survival, another psyop, another thing that's telling us we need to do these things in order to survive. And it really distracts us from what we're really here to do. So surrendering allows us to relinquish our personal will and align with the divine will, right? So trust naturally arises from within when we surrender to our individual wants. When we just say, you know what? I can't do this on my own. I need to surrender to my divinity. And however you connect with divinity, whether it's through God or through meditation or through prayer or through action or service, any of these things. But when we have conscious awareness, then we can start to expand ourselves and we start to accept. So that's the next thing, is we start to accept what's going on now. So in this moment, I'm just going to accept that here I am in this moment and this is what's happening. And then when we live in this, from this space of knowing that we are enough, that we're doing enough, that all is well, and all is going to continue to be well. You know how I know? Because it's been well up till now. And everything has been happening in divine timing. Now you might say, oh, well, what about the people that are in war-torn countries? What about people that get in accidents? What about people that, this, that, and the other, a family member dies, or they die, or they get sick? Those are all possibilities. But those are possibilities that are not happening in this moment. And I really do believe that a lot of stuff that happens to us in life is a wake-up call. And I can say that from a place of experience. I've had sicknesses, I've had illnesses, and I've had all kinds of things that have gotten me to have the career that I have, which is teaching people how to eat healthy, how to meditate, how to check in and tune in. So when we start to surrender and say, I have no control over what's going to happen to me, but I know that if I start to just tune into what I really need and really what's going on with me and me being here now, then I'll naturally start to get the aha moments, or what I call the downloads, that you know what? Probably time for me to start cleaning up my diet. Maybe it's time to let go of some sugar, or just something will come across your path. That'll be some podcast or some YouTube video or even a book that's oh, this is just what I needed in this moment, and shift your path and shift your alignment and create more harmony and more magic. So I was watching a Joseph Campbell movie the other day on Netflix called Finding Joe. And it was really just talking about, one of his famous lines is, follow your bliss, and doors will open where there once were walls. And, the people that were in the movie and that were talking about what does bliss really mean? It doesn't mean hedonism. It doesn't mean, oh, just do whatever you want, eat a box of cookies. That's not bliss. That's something about, pleasure, the pleasure principle. So I'm not talking about pleasure here. I'm talking about something that gives you bliss. And when we tune into our life purpose, or we tune into whatever it is that gives us bliss, it could be for you that you're a musician and playing guitar or learning guitar or taking voice lessons, gives you that feeling of satisfaction and enoughness and bliss. And so for me, doing these podcasts, doing these YouTube videos, working with Caitlin on the website and creating new courses and programs and being of service to others in that way makes me feel blissful. And so that is just my answer right there. Just follow the one thing that makes you feel blissful. For you, it could just be gardening. That's also making me feel blissful. I've been planting a lot of seeds. I've been out there growing a late summer garden that I'm going to put a greenhouse over so that I can have a fall garden because it gets cold here in Oregon. And that's making, every time I look in my garden, I feel that bliss. You know, it gives me pleasure in a way that is not harming me at all. Whereas like sugar or watching too much Netflix or, you know, drinking or smoking cigarettes, something that you think is pleasurable, but doesn't make you a better person in the long run. So what I'm talking about is, will this activity make you feel like you're doing something, like you're in service in some way, or it's making you a better person, a better human? And so, you know, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that because that's really top of mind for me right now. And I just want to kind of give us all just a vacation from stressing, a vacation from wondering if you're enough, or a vacation from thinking, should I be doing more? Because I know that's the question I ask myself a lot is, should I be doing more? What is it? Should I be online, like talking about a lot of this stuff and, you know, trying to awaken people? You've heard like that there's some people are awakened and some people are still sleeping, and, you know, they use the word sheeple and they use the word, you know, someone's asleep. And so in my mind, sometimes I'm like, am I supposed to be helping people wake up? And the message that comes back is just stay in your lane, do your work, and just your existence and your presence and the things that you're putting out in the world, because they give you bliss, are going to affect people in the way that it affects them. Some people will get mad. Some people will say, that one thing that I heard gave me this aha that led me down this trail that helped me to be more awakened in life, or that got me to start thinking differently about things or looking differently at things. And then I started to feel better about myself and I started to feel good again. So we're basically at this tipping point right now. So every day that we're in this quarantine, we're given an opportunity to embody deep and profound states of stillness. And that allows anxiety to move through us, fear, lack, scarcity to move through us, but we don't become it. We just go, okay, there's that fear coming up again. There's that lack consciousness coming up again, that if I'm not working, I'm not going to make enough money and I can't do the things I want to do. There's that, you know, that scarcity consciousness of like, I better go shopping and do a little bit of hoarding, because if not, who knows what's going to happen next month. So all these things are reacting. And so instead of reacting, what we need to do is respond, be responsible, right? So when we're responsible, we respond with love, with harmony, with a place of centered, grounded stillness. And so I just kind of want to talk about this because I want to lead us into a meditation that'll help you kind of get in this place of deep, profound stillness, that'll kind of help us to embody a lightness of being. And one thing that I do, you can listen back to a podcast that I recorded, and I'll put it in the show notes, the link, but a podcast that I recorded about the violet flame. And so for me, that's something that I do every day as I do Archangel Michael protection. I put blue shield around me every morning. And then I do some incantations and some decrees of the violet flame. And one part of it says, "O violet flame, O violet flame, O violet flame. In the name of God, in the name of God, in the name of God. O violet flame, O violet flame, O violet flame. Flood the world and flood the world and flood the world. In the I am name, in the I am name, in the I am name. Peace and peace and peace be spread throughout the earth. May the Orient express peace. May the Occident express peace. May peace come from the east and go to the west. Come from the north and go to the south. And circle around the world. May the world abide in an aura of God peace." And as I do that, I imagine these big light balls going from the east to the west and circling around the globe, then from the north to the south and circling around the globe. And then I imagine these love and light bombs going into the center of the earth, like covering every aspect and area of our earth, and sending love to those that even, you know, some people don't feel are deserving of love. Those who are doing horrible crimes to humanity right now, those who have darkness in their heart. What is the best way to heal that? I ask myself, and I ask the divine. And the answer I get back isn't send them hate balls and send them flame and damnation. It's send love into their hearts. Because love and heart and, you know, love healing is what heals the world. And if we were to heal that abuser, that person who's abusing that child, Just imagine a scenario where you're in a grocery store and a woman is abusing her child. And you go up to her and you shame her and you say, don't hurt that child and you're doing the wrong thing. What do you think is going to happen in that moment? One, she's probably not going to stop and say, oh, you're right, I'm so sorry. She's probably going to lash out at you. And then as soon as she gets that child alone, she's going to put all the blame, shame, and guilt onto that child. But if you were to walk up just with total love in your heart and purity of heart and just look at her with absolute compassion, and maybe not even say anything, but just smile at her with compassion. Smile at that person at the cashier, who's in a bad mood. Maybe say something beautiful and compassionate about what they're wearing or what they're, the service that they're doing. So if you were to say that to this person or just beam love on them, the chances of them changing their behavior are going to be much stronger than if we're blaming, shaming, guilting, sending hellfire and damnation, going home and telling our sister or our friend about what we just witnessed. And that's creating more of that, right? Whatever we're talking about, we're creating more of in the world. So what is it that we're wanting to create in the world? For me, what I want to create more of, and I want to heal this planet, I want to heal anybody who's in imprisonment, in torture, in violence, in any kind of activity that is other than love and bliss. I want to heal that. And the best way that my guides and my guidance system and my divine knowing tells me is to send love and light to all those places, to flood the world and flood the world and flood the world. So that's what I'm doing. And with that, I want to just take us through a guided meditation. And this is from a man whose name is Panache Desai. And I heard this meditation earlier and I wrote it down so I could do it with us. So what we want to first do is just take some really deep breaths together. And wherever you are, just relax your body. And you can close your eyes at this time. And let's just take some really deep breaths in through the nose. Hold it. And exhale through the mouth. 2 more. In through the nose. Hold it. And exhale through the mouth. Last one. And exhale. So keep your eyes closed. And if you're new to meditation, don't worry. This is just all about resting in your breath, observing your breath, and just notice where you are. So just start to notice your breath right now. Just observe it. Just breath going in and out, just a natural breath, nothing forced. And resting in that breath. And that breath is going to transform our meditation. And that's all meditation really is witnessing your breath. That's it. There's no secret. It's just witnessing your breath. So put your hands on your lap right now and open your palms. And so just start to notice your palms. Just start to feel your palms. Feel the divine presence through your palms. Feel the light in your palms. Feeling the presence and the energy in the soles of your feet. Just start to feel that presence in your feet. Notice your feet. Now notice the crown of your head. Feel that energy in the crown of your head. The energy of light. So let's just start to feel that energy moving up from our feet into our ankles. Move that energy up from your ankles into your shins and your calves. Feel that light energy in your knees and your thighs, and the backs of your thighs. Feel that love light energy in your hip flexors, in your pelvis, in your belly, in your tailbone. Move that energy up the back of the spine, all the way up the spine to the neck. And then move that energy from the front of the pelvis all the way up through your heart center, through your chest and your lungs, up to your throat center. Now feel that energy of love and light in your throat. Move it up to your jawbone. Move it back to the back of your head, to the crown, up to the crown, and then back down to where your occipital is at the base of your skull. Feel it in the center of your head. Feel it right in where your pituitary is. Feel it in your ears. Feel that love and light energy in your nose, in your eyeballs, all through your skull, and in your hair even, and then the top of your skull again, in the crown. Feel that energy, love, light just moving through you. And just feel a sense of calm. Feel a sense of just becoming softer and becoming more and more peaceful. When we experience the divine, we experience infinite energy with no beginning and no end. This presence is so brilliantly golden that it appears as a white light. See yourself surrounded now by this beautiful white light, completely enveloping you, all around you. This is the vibration of pure potential and the purest love you've ever felt. Resting in this truth, resting in the knowing that you are in God and God is in you. You are part of the divine. Resting in the knowing that you are the infinite experiencing itself as you, as a droplet in the infinite. And that drop is all of it. It takes all of our drops to be part of this infinite. We need all of us. You are important to be here. With each breath, anchoring the feeling deeper and deeper and deeper. Anchoring that feeling of divinity within you. With each breath, becoming lighter and lighter, elevating your vibrational field and resonance to the resonance of divine love, to the presence. And now start to begin to emanate that love out, that divine love from your body, just emanate it out into the world. Send it everywhere that the world needs it right now. Anything you're feeling that's happening on this planet, send that love, divine love there. Stillness, calm, peace. Fill your entire vibrational field, your energy body, with this presence. Feeling the feeling of the truth of who you are. Resting here, receiving, allowing, embracing, accepting. Of connection, you may now give your thanks, your appreciation, your gratitude for the blessing that is your life, for everything that you have, for everyone that you love, for everything that you've gone through, for everything that you are going to go through. Because everything has served the purpose of leading you home. Back to the light that you are. Back to the love that you are. Back to the divine being that you have always been. this place. Make the commitment to make your choices and decisions from this place, and you will live a life that will defy the mind, that will be blessed in all ways, that will be supported in every way, because you will have committed to knowing your essential self and living as your essential self from this moment henceforth. And so it is. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you soon on another episode.